Hey everybody, welcome. This is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and this is just a little off-the-cuff presentation about something that I went through this week, and it kind of brought to mind some things that a lot of the members go through, and I wanted to share some insights on this. And essentially, what happened this week, I'm on a medication for my thyroid. Hey, Elaine. And as you know, the thyroid regulates so many organs in the body, but a big part of it is your emotions. And I was born with half a thyroid. I didn't know it. I struggled for years. I lived a really stressed out life, just trying to hold everything in. And so when I realized that, when it was finally discovered, finally a doctor said, hey, let's check your thyroid. Turned out I have hypothyroidism, and that is responsible for regulating a lot of my body chemistry and everything else. And so I've noticed that when I am on my thyroid medication, it was really interesting to live my life without this level of tension, like, ugh. And what was right about this thyroid condition was it set me on the path to really explore the body-mind connection, body-mind-spirit connection, and how do I live from that greater capacity. I'm so grateful for everything that led up to my learning. Hi, Tanisha. Thanks for joining. And it's so easy when we are going through a challenge to think about what's wrong rather than focus on what's right and how we can shift into this greater state of being. And I just wanted to share some tips on this. And like I said, this is off the cuff. This is not a prepared presentation, but this is a conversation I have with people a lot. And so I just wanted to share this with you. So already, this is the first thing. Like, if you're noticing things are not going right, if the money isn't there, you've had a big unexpected bill, there's been some kind of blow up in the relationship, there's a disagreement, there's something that's happening that is creating discomfort or disruption to you. It's really easy to get into an argument about what's happening and whose fault it is. We want to get into blame and shame and trauma, drama, all of that stuff. And these are long time patterns. And so we need to understand that what we are experiencing is a creation. Okay? It is a creation, and it may have been created unconsciously, but now you are feeling the effects, right? Notice how I'm stepping back in this, like we're using neutral language. I'm modeling also. So this is a creation. This is something that was created within you and in your internal, your family system as part of this greater world system. And all of our neurology is set up to keep that pattern going, and the positive intention, of course, is to keep you safe. Okay, and everything is ordered around this pattern. Okay, and I'm going to be sharing some things coming up, talking more about pattern matter, how that's related to mother and father programs. This is going to like explode your brain, and how we're consciously creating this over and over again. But just think about this as we have these patterns in our life, and we know it, right? You know you're in a pattern when you go, man, every time this happens, every time it seems like as soon as I start making a little bit of money, that big bill comes, or as soon as I start getting some feedback that, hey, I know what I'm doing, or some positive feedback from your community, right? Something shows up to kind of take it away, knock you down a peg. Like that would happen to me a lot. Like as soon as I would start feeling like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, my confidence would start growing. I would like start being more expansive. there would always be some kind, well-meaning person who would come see me after the break, or there'd be some upset there, and it would always be something about, I'm a large lady, so it might be, well, weight, right? Or my education, or something in my background, or maybe I said something wrong. I didn't say the word, I didn't pronounce a word correctly. Maybe there was a loop I didn't complete in a training. I mean, there'd be something, right? And it'd always be like, yeah, thank you for reminding me that I'm just human, and we're just, just trying to figure this out, and I'm having a good time. And thank you for not letting me get too full of myself and be in my ego. Thank you so much. But that actually was keeping me in my ego. It was keeping me in this smaller, more narrow space so that I didn't overstep. There was a positive intention. And again, why? To stay safe, not to leave my family system. I come from a trauma, drama family system where there's abandonment, and this goes all the way through all of the systems. And where, I grew up where my mom got married 3 times before I was 21. And so with each marriage, each separation, I lost a whole family. So I don't have a lot of the identification stuff that people have with their tribe. My identification's more of like the wanderer coming in, out, that type of thing. But it came back to, in order to be safe, I've got to cling to my mom's view, and I cannot do anything to disrupt her view of me and this worldview that she promotes, right? So everything was kind of built in, don't upset mama, okay? Keep that relationship at all cost. And what's interesting is you wind up creating and recreating, creating and recreating to try to work that out with people. Okay, so if you're noticing that there's something going on, please acknowledge that right now that there's nothing wrong. It's just not going as you had hoped or expected, or what you had projected as something that will meet your needs. What is happening is you working out your family programming so that you can step into that greatness and the truth and the power and the beauty of who you are. Take a big breath into that idea. Up until now, that's all you've been trying to figure out, is how you could be the best version of yourself and live a life in a way that's in integrity with your values, that we feel like you make a difference, and that it's in a way that is possible outside of what you've been experiencing. And it's like when you were learning to walk. Hey, you got a few steps, you bumped, you fell, you instead of walking, you wound up running, you slammed into some things. There was people trying to keep you safe, hold you back so you didn't get hurt. You were somehow, working all this out. Okay. So right now, I just want to have you bring your attention to whatever part of you that you feel is wrong. And so this would be the second step. One, we want to just acknowledge, hey, there's what's happening, but we want to acknowledge it and look through the lens of, hey, all things are leading to your greater good. Okay? All things, all paths are going to lead to your mastery and your success. You don't know how. You think hopefully that's true, right? But Kathryn, what if things are just effed up? What if they were wrong and I'm right and I got something taken away from me? Well, what if it's just as true that you somehow energetically enrolled that person into your life to help you work that out? Okay? Oh, okay. And that is perfect. And maybe there was some pain, there was some loss. And we don't know why. When we look back at the bigger picture, we don't know why. We only know that the intention is for your growth and your well-being and to align to your mastery. And intention never fails. And all paths, all your experiences are leading eventually to your greater awareness and your fullness of your expression. Now, did you notice what I did? I did not argue with that idea. And this is a habit of thought, a habit of being, of arguing with what is. So always coming back, right? And this does not excuse bad behavior. This does not justify abuse in your life or abuse on your behalf. It is just saying, wow, I was trying to work this out. And if there's amends that you need to make, then you'll actually have more energetic bandwidth and space and wisdom and grace to make the amends to heal whatever needs to be healed. Are you feeling that? Are you starting to feel some energy already move just as I'm speaking to that? Okay, so this is the lens. What lens are you looking through? And so I want to invite, and the invitation is to look through this as a lens of all things are about leading to your greater mastery. And this is very much the Tao. All paths lead to God. All paths lead to love, right? That's what this is about. So we meet whatever argument through that lens, okay? Now, if you have trouble, you can go up and do a one command, which we're going to do some, okay? So next, you're going to be present to how you are having your experience physically, okay? So I started this by telling you, like, hey, I got off my thyroid medicine. I've been at my daughter's. I haven't got to go back. I've got to go have some blood work. And what got triggered this week is because of the regulation and some, I knew I had to move and some things to take care of. I would be sitting there and anxiety would just like click on in my body. And I would be like, oh, where did this come from? My heart's racing, everything's tight, there's pressure in my chest. And there's a lot of general anxiety out in consciousness right now. There's also a lot of grace and beauty and courage and compassion showing up. And I know that I want to be able to face whatever difficulty is from this space of grace, courage, and compassion, right? I'm going to let beauty and joy be my guide. So what did I do? Well, one, I needed to acknowledge that I'm in a human body. You're in a human body, okay? We're not pouring in motor oil. We're not jump starting with a battery. We've got systems that need support, okay? So I had to just go ahead and acknowledge, wow, I'm feeling this anxiety. This is happening. What do I need to do until, I can get this resolved? But then I asked, hey, is this even my own anxiety? And maybe there's some tension going on in the house. It's the start of the school year. I got a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old and lots going on there. Got a stressed out mom who's working a job at home and then, working to balance everything. And then there's my own needs. So it's like I could try to track all of it. And part of my makeup, and I have a feeling it could be part of yours, is especially if you came from a trauma drama house, you learn to be hyper vigilant. And I used to be really super hyper vigilant. I had an amazing memory. I could track so many things on so many levels in this broader bandwidth. Okay. And I was unconsciously and consciously tracking more than most people. And that really helped me with developing my intuitive gifts. It was, I always amazed my bosses on how I could set up my budgets and, scheduling of my team members and how there was this flow, because in my offices where I was I was an apartment manager doing takeover and rehab, but it was because of how I was tracking the energy of the property. And I was kind of having this internal conversation of what was happening, what you needed, what was coming. And I just would be able to kind of notice there's this sense of discomfort, or there's opportunities, or there's things happening. And that's a wonderful gift until it becomes a burden, right? And until it no longer serves you. And everything that was set up as a kid to keep me safe so I could track everything that was happening in the upheaval in the house to stay safe and to keep my sisters safe, does not necessarily serve you out in the greater world. So now that I'm older and I've had some physical changes, I'm noticing I don't have the same bandwidth, but I also don't need the same bandwidth. I mean, it's very gentle and soft how the information comes in now. Like my daughter said, well, what are we going to do about dinner? And I said, I think Maddie's going to be asking about going to the Chinese buffet. And she's like, well, if she wants that, we could do that. But what do you want to do? I said, well, I mean, we've got stuff here. We don't have to go out if you don't want to. Maddie comes home. First thing she says, that's the 14-year-old. She says, Mom, could we just go to the Chinese buffet today? I really don't want to do dishes and all that. I'm so tired, and I just would love to go there and just eat whatever. And, there's certain things that are comforting, but she's not an overeater, right? And she's in band and doing all this activity, so it's appropriate for her to have larger meals. And Lauren looked at me. She said, yeah, I guess we're going to China buffet. I guess that's what we're doing. So it's like this little thought, this little thing I notice, and I don't have to like get hit by all these waves anymore. But I was still like, is this my upset? Is this my anxiety? So what I tell people to do, and what has worked for me, is to become present to it and how I'm experiencing it without making it wrong, without immersing myself into some story about it, but just simply notice the physical symptoms, right? Like if I had to explain it to a Martian who doesn't know what anxiety is, and have to say, well, here's what happens to your body, and here's how I'm experiencing, though some other people may experience it another way. Like some people experience fear as just shutting down. They can't get an idea. Everything's blank. Some get a big pressure in their body and the gut grabs and they just feel locked in and they can't move and can't breathe. Some feel a clutch or a pressure on their heart. Some get a headache. They get migraines. And for me, there's usually this clutch around the lungs, and around my heart area, but I notice it really more in my lungs. What's interesting is that the lungs, mother energy being nurtured, right? This flow, it's inspiration, connection to source. And inspiration means breath plus action. So I was like going, well, okay, so one, if I'm noticing I'm having this pressure, I'm going to be present. Let me just first just breathe. If it's breath plus action. And so I'm wondering how my connection to source can help me have even greater inspiration and connection to myself. And I just started asking, I wonder, what if? And as you start becoming present, some thoughts are going to start coming in that you're kind of the observer, right? You could call this your intuition, your inner guidance, your inner master. But as soon as you start becoming neutral and in that observer, it's like this greater part of you starts to arrive, okay? Now, I could be going, damn it, this anxiety. What's wrong with me? Who is it? This darn family and their trauma drama cycle, right? So I had to look at, well, I wonder how I am unconsciously or consciously creating this. What in me is creating this pattern in the house? I mean, I'm the mother. I'm the mother of the mother. What in me has co-created this? And I remember my daughter's just trying to work this out. The granddaughter's just trying to work this out. Everybody's just trying to work this out, right? They're just trying to figure stuff out. So if I'm aware of it in a different way than they are, how can I have a new thought image or idea about what's possible. Right now, whatever it is you're going through, just bring your attention to your own body, how you're experiencing it. And just ask yourself, hey, I wonder what new image or idea I can have about this situation. I wonder what thought, image, or idea, what new thought, image, or idea I can have about money, or my ability to make money, my ability to be a good wife or a good husband, to be independent, to have a successful business, whatever is up for you right now, however this is showing up. And I wonder, well, then here comes the beautiful one command. You may feel an answer may arrive, but you may feel blank. And you go, wow, I don't know. Yes, that's exactly right. You don't know. But there's a part of you that knows. So that's really how we're working with the one command. So if we go, I don't know how, I have, and you can just roll your eyes up. I don't know how, I have a new thought, image, or idea about this situation that allows me to arrive at an even greater solution. I only know it so now, and I am fulfilled. And you just let that idea go. You let that expand out. If you're noticing that, like I was having the anxiety symptoms and there was this tension in my body, I said, okay, so I'm having anxiety symptoms. There's tension in my body on a scale of 1 to 10. And I love to use a scale of 1 to 10 because that engages the more analytical side of my brain and disconnects me from the emotional side of the brain. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being really neutral and 10 about to jump out of my skin, how would I rate this feeling in my body? How would I rate it? So we already did an I don't know how, and then we moved over into more of the observer and the analytical part. Okay. Do you notice how we're going through this? There's absolutely a process that I'm taking you through right now. I don't have any notes. This teaching's coming through just for you. So on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say whatever the feeling is in your body that you're experiencing, like for me, it was anxiety. For you, it could be stress. It could be worry. It could be resistance. It could be just freaking out about money. However you're holding that, whatever you're noticing in your body, go ahead and rate it now on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate this tension in your body? 1 being completely at ease and free, and 10 about to jump out of your skin. Okay. For me, I was running at a pretty consistent 8, spiking up to 9.99 occasionally when it caught me off guard. So then I would think, wow, I wonder what I have to think about, tell myself, or remember in order to, and this is going to be counterproductive, to increase it by 2 points. I wonder what I need to do to think about to make this even worse. Oh, then what I have to do? Oh, I have to imagine everybody yelling at me. I have to imagine being ashamed that I can, here I'm this healer and I've helped so many people get emotional and physical healing. Guys, I have had 3 classes where people arrived in wheelchairs and got up, rose up out of those wheelchairs and walked out, who had been in those chairs for years. So do you think I have an expectation on my ability to heal and what I should be able to do as a healer and what my body should look like and how I should be able to handle everything? Yeah. So do you think that expectation serves me or locks me up? Now flip it to you. What expectation do you have about you that is locking you up? That seems like it would be a good thing to have a high expectation, but how is it locking you up instead of serving you? Yeah. Oh, what do you have to do? Think about, tell yourself, or imagine to increase the negative feeling. And whatever it is, just go ahead and create it. Whatever, just go ahead and bump it up. Like, oh, if you're worried about money, oh, I don't have money. I'm never going to have money. I keep screwing up money. Even if I got a lot of money, I'd figure out how to lose it or blow it somehow. I can't even be trusted with money. I'm too stupid to handle money, or whatever. There are people who will try to take money, right? Whatever idea, whatever you need to do, whatever lie you have to tell yourself that you keep telling yourself to increase that negative feeling. Now just let it drop back to where it was. Oh, isn't that interesting? That just through your own self-talk and what you were imagining and stirring up your emotions, how you increased that. Isn't that amazing? How much power you had to do that. So I wonder what needs to happen. What do you need to think about? Tell yourself, remember or imagine to let that feeling drop down 2 points. So from an 8 to a 6. I don't know, just even that question alone brought me into being present, and I felt the tension release. Yeah, I wonder what I need to think about, tell myself, or imagine, right? I wonder what I need to remember to allow that to drop down to a 6. If nothing happens and you get blank, what do? We use the one command. Well, I don't know how the intensity of this emotion drops from an 8 to a 6. I only know I am relaxing and at peace. I'm relaxed and at peace now, and I am fulfilled. There we go. And if you were at a 6, how would you know? So create that feeling of the 6. What would the evidence be? Well, you might feel a little on edge, but for the most part, it's okay. Maybe you kind of feel it building up. You notice it's going down, but you're just in this space of noticing right now. Isn't that powerful? Wow, how powerful. And again, you had the power to create new thoughts, images, and ideas. New feelings. You were able to observe. You were able to start allowing both parts of your brain and this higher part of you, this higher, greater intelligence, to begin to work together, right? So if this is a message from my body about an unmet need or a danger or maybe there's an awareness I need to have. I wonder how this is serving me right now. We don't want to argue. So how is this low bank account serving me? How is this physical injury serving me? How is this tension in the household serving me? How is my crappy job serving me? I don't know how it serves me. I only know all things are at my service now. And this is where the next part is, where you notice that you start having the bandwidth and the capacity to get really honest with yourself. Well, as long as I'm in this anxious spot and my body's freaking out, I really don't have to sit down and write that sales page that is the least favorite part of my business, right? I don't have to show up and do all this work that I really don't want to do. I just want to be able to do, I want to be able to work with people one-on-one or teach the class. I don't like all that prep stuff. How is it serving me? I don't know how it could serve me. Maybe it keeps me from having to go do dishes, or it gives me time and space to step away from taking care of the kids or being in the drama cycle that I've become aware of that is up in a different level in the house. Maybe it gives me permission to not deal, right? Whatever idea comes in, you just meet it with grace, going, okay, all right, is that true? Is that not true? Whatever it is, whatever thought comes up, just meet it, notice it, And then the question is like, well, what do I want to be true instead? Well, I want to be the kind of person that keeps their commitments. I want to be the kind of person that knows how to show up. Um, I want the skill, I want the resources to be able to sign this off to someone else, right? I want permission to be able to leave a job I know that I've outgrown, whatever that is, whatever this experience is trying to, that you've created is trying to fulfill and serve for you, whatever its purpose is. Once you become aware of what the purpose of what you're experiencing is, then you can create it and create it from a higher level of consciousness. Because before, how you were creating it was unconsciously from a lower vibration. Does that make sense? Are y'all with me on this? We have some pretty advanced people here. So just know that there was a part of you that as you created this unconsciously to serve a higher good, to get your needs met, this is now, because it's an upset for you and you don't want it anymore, this is your opportunity to create something greater if you're willing. So check in. Are you willing right now to allow a greater part of you to create a way to get your needs met? Are you willing? Yeah, even if you don't know how to be willing, even if you don't feel the energy, even if you don't know how you could even create anything different than what you've experienced every day of your life, right? Is it okay to not know how you can have a greater experience? And maybe there's something that you didn't even know you wanted or was available to you because you'd been so distracted by all the drama or all this experience, right? So let's go ahead and go in and do the one command. I don't know how I create a better way to get my needs met. I only know my needs are beautifully and perfectly met now, and I am fulfilled. I don't know how my financial needs, which goes to your security and safety. So I don't know how I have even greater security and safety within myself, regardless of what money I have in my bank account. I only know I am secure now and I am fulfilled. I only know I am safe now and I am fulfilled. Maybe you're needing acknowledgement or appreciation. Maybe you're needing a sense of inclusion or that you matter somehow, whatever that is, right? So I don't know how to create a relationship through peace, love, and joy and mutual respect. I don't know how I have a new language of communicating my wants, needs, and desires. I don't know how I have a new way of hearing the wants, needs, and desires of others. I only know I am creating something greater within me that gives me a greater sense of connection now, and I am fulfilled. Isn't that beautiful? And now just let all that expand out to something even greater that serves more good. And as that expands, you bring your attention back to wherever you were experiencing that tension or that clutch. And what I like to do is to imagine that new information, that new energy coming in. So what if it's just as true that, I had to go, well, maybe it's not my medication. Maybe that was just a convenient story to let people know that, I'm really kind of freaked out and I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to just be in my own space now. Maybe I needed to be able to give myself permission. So I don't know how my heart is relaxed. My lungs are taking in even more air and I'm breathing and I'm at ease now. I only know I have everything I need. through my breath and in between my breath and anticipating my next breath, between my heartbeat, between the thump and the dump, right? Between the thump and the dump, a dump, a dump, between the thump and the dump, a dump, a dump. In between this space, there's only love. And I have everything I need. I have everything I want. And now I don't know how I move above and beyond, out of basic needs and wants, into a higher vibration as a conscious creator. And this is the next step. Because when we're dealing with just this want and need and trying to get that stuff met, that is a much lower vibration. And you'll start unconsciously making your world smaller rather than more expansive. You will start cutting out and having fewer resources. You'll start eliminating relationships and experiences, and you'll start cutting off your own intuition and knowing, so that the primary directive becomes get these needs met. Protect, be safe, right? But if we go, okay, yeah, that is a level of consciousness. And now I don't know how to be a conscious creator of my experience so that my needs are beautifully and perfectly met as I create something even greater. I don't know how to create a business that generates more than enough money. I don't know how I create a job that is fulfilling and well-paying. I don't know how I create conscious, loving relationships free of drama and trauma, that are inclusion and conversation and empowering for all of us, right? I don't know how to create empowering, loving, connected relationships. I only know I am a conscious creator now, and I am fulfilled. And, we always talk about going up to theta, where our eyes are rolled up like we're trying to look up to the top of our head. But another thing that you can do, if you notice that you're upset, if you notice that you're upset, is, and I would do this with my daughter a lot when she was younger, and once a month I would get these really freaked out phone calls like, Mom, everything's wrong, and this has happened, and I'm freaking out, and I'm never going to make it, I'm not going to figure this out, and rent's going to be due, and my stupid job isn't letting me work, and then she'd start going crying, and I go, okay, honey, I want to hear you, I'm here for you, I need you to take some breaths and look up while you're telling me what's going on. So just to the level of my eyes, now I'm just like, if this is, let's say I'm at that 180 degree line, right? Now I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up to about 90. And just look up. So what else is possible? That's the question. What else is possible? What else is possible? What possibilities can I eliminate? Ooh, yeah, we've got some negative possibilities that are running, right? We go, if I don't pay that bill, if I don't get this job, if I don't, I don't know, whatever, fill in the blank, then some horrible possibility can occur. Remember, we said, what do you need to think about, tell yourself, or imagine in order to increase this negative feeling? What do you need to think about, tell yourself, imagine, or remember to lower the feeling? So what if we eliminated some possibilities, right? Like, there's a Lizzo song where she goes, I'll never, never, never be your side chick, right? Well, I'll never, never, never be homeless. I'll never, never, never have to go live in Pleasant Grove again and work at a Waffle House. But if I did, you know what? Pleasant Grove is a place I came from, really rough and tumble. And it was a place I always feared going back to. And then the job I never wanted was working at Waffle House, which is a kind of coffee shop, 24-hour, and it's a really rough job. And then, I mean, this was a big fear. It was a moving away thing. And then once I started embracing it, going, okay, if I did wind up working at the Pleasant Grove Waffle House, what would that be like? Well, I'd probably still be me. I'd still be friendly to the customers. I'd be the one singing in the kitchen. Like, yeah, I used to wait tables. I was the singing waitress. Not that I'm a good singer, but I sang and hummed all the time. We did dance moves. I said, this would be the most fun place ever to work, right? So the fear got eliminated. But for a lot of people, we have this negative idea, right, about where we never want to wind up, what we can't have happen. Oh, no, what if it does? We got to be, okay, so what possibilities do we want to eliminate? Like, that's just not me. That's not going to happen. That's not in my sphere. There's nothing that could happen that could turn me into a paid assassin. Okay? Right. So I don't know what your never is. So I don't know how I eliminate these potentials. I don't know how to eliminate the thoughts of these potentials that do not serve me. Even though earlier I said all paths lead to love, even though I don't know how. I only know all paths lead to love, and I am living from the truth of the greatness of my greatness as a conscious creator now, and I am fulfilled. And what you've done is you snapped every part of you into moving up into that higher, greater position. That this is the lens of reality that we're going to look through. We're not going to look through this fearful and what ifs and all this negative fearful thing. We're going to move up into this conscious observer. And what we want to create is a life that is a better expression of our beliefs and values, of what we believe is possible and what we want to create for ourselves and everyone who's in relationship with us, right? This group has a little different spiritual objective than a lot of other people, right? Because as we're happy, we do feel that our happiness creates more happiness for others. Remember that thing about, oh no, if I'm because I'm a healer and I've helped all these people and now I'm not well, and how this idea about myself that was the greater part was actually blocking me, right? And causing pain. Well, we have the same idea about our happiness. Like, oh no, unless I'm a great big success and I'm happy and joyful all the time, I'm living from grace and ease and my house is in perfect order, I'm causing pain in the planet. Well, we forget that we are co-creating this reality with other people and we have different roles in their life and everybody's on their own path to love, right? So I don't know how I'm having an even greater experience of myself, that as people meet me and experience the vibration and the light that I am, they meet themselves in a new, more loving, powerful way. I only know I choose to meet myself in a loving and powerful way now, and I am fulfilled. And now just let that part of you, that loving, powerful part of you, move down and start meeting every powerless, frozen part of you. Let it start meeting your bank account. Let it start meeting your job. Let it start meeting your clients. Let it start meeting your potential clients. Let it meet your body in creating divine health. Let it meet the part of you that shows up in relationships. Just be present to it. Let it meet you. Yeah. And now here's the last piece. And I call it creating vignettes, and I love to create 3 little pictures. Okay? So you have a situation of maybe what you called before not working. Like I had this situation called anxiety attacks. We have a situation a lot of times in life called not enough money. We have not good health. We have the trauma drama, right? So if in my house, if that trauma drama pattern were eliminated in me, and that somehow I was unconsciously had been up until now co-creating it in my family system, right? The family system that I came from, the family system that I have influence on. If I, instead of creating trauma drama, what do I want to create instead? Hey, I want to create cooperation and mutual respect and fun and lightness and character. I want to be able to treat people about respect and character building. I mean, I have this whole thing I want to be able to influence my grandkids on and be there for my daughter, right? So let's call that respect and appreciation instead of trauma drama. Respect and appreciation, excuse me. So if in my house there was respect and appreciation, there was a new pattern and a new cycle of respect and appreciation, how would that show up? How would I know that that was happening? Oh, well, I don't know. First off, when Maddie's a teenager and she's going to oversleep. So when she oversleeps, there's not a big yelling match about get up, you lazy kid. I've been guilty. Okay, so, but let's say Maddie messes up because she's a teenager walking around being a good teenager. There's been a rule violated. Maybe she had a tone of voice or whatever. So instead of trauma drama, there would be, okay, respect of her feelings, but also to say that's not how we're doing. I appreciate what you're going through, but listen, this isn't happening. So maybe we'd feel more neutral and go, what's going on? Where would that come from? Right? So I could actually imagine her mom noticing the tone, and instead of being reactive, or me being reactive, or her dad being reactive to a tone, go, wow, okay, this is a human being with their own thoughts and feelings. I wonder what she needs. I wonder what's up with that, right? So there's a beat and a new question, right? Instead of a reaction. So what would that look like? So I created that image. What would be the other way? I don't know, the 4-year-old wouldn't throw a tantrum every time she didn't get her way. Oh, so I wonder who I need to be in order for the 4-year-old to feel safe and feel like she can communicate to me what she needs using her words instead of, throwing a big tantrum. So I don't know how I can, there's respect and appreciation, and this creates space for a new language and a new conversation. Okay, so that actually would go to the other one, right? That we're not repeating old conversations, we're creating new ones. So I don't know how I have a new conversation with myself and a new conversation with the kids and a new conversation with the mom. I only know there's this new respectful conversation that creates greater appreciation now, and I am fulfilled. Yeah, I like that. So what's the third one? Oh, just being able to hang out and have fun together. You decide to go do something and there's no tension in the car, and we just go do it, and we wind up singing in the car because I like singing, and we just laughing and looking forward to what's going on. Yeah, I like that. So as we create that, and the reason we want to create 3 vignettes that are really like these little scenes is we're already unconsciously creating from an old vignette, an old movie. Okay, so when we create this new way, one, we're giving our unconscious mind a new pattern, a new thing, a new experience to look for and match to. We're kind of doing a mental rehearsal, but also at this other level, we're starting to create this unconscious conversation that we're always creating all the time through our energy field, that of what we want to start co-creating with each other. and they start meeting it. And then when you notice, then that will start reinforcing your belief and ability that, yeah, you can create it. And when the other negative thing happens, go, oh, yeah, I must have slipped back into an old way of being. Now I'm just going to notice that this is happening at another level. I wonder what I need to think about, tell myself, or remember to be able to raise the vibration on the situation. And this starts to become your way of thinking as you start observing and asking new questions. Does this make sense? Are you guys with me? Did I get too technical? So it's really about being present and noticing what you're experiencing, noticing, and we're looking through that lens of a positive intention, not through that there's something wrong with you or you're broken or that you're a screw up or you failed again or none of that stuff. But you're just someone who's trying to figure it out. And when you give yourself that space, it's kind of a miraculous thing because you start meeting everyone else that way too. It's like, I'm trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure it out. We're going to figure this out together. And it's going to be bumpy, but I promise it's going to be worth it, which is our family attitude. We literally talk to each other that way. Like, you know what? I'm not going to always be my best with you. And I know you're not going to be best with me, but there's nothing that's ever going to separate me from loving you. There's never going to be anything that's going to cause our love to separate. There's only love between us. And all we're doing is we're just figuring out how to love each other better. Okay? We're going to do this. Then once you start noticing, like, hey, how are you physically experiencing whatever this block is or this tension, this stress? You become present to it and you actually go, what do I need to think about? Tell myself, remember to increase it. What I need to do to reduce it. And you start noticing, it's like, well, what purpose does this serve? Because it's obviously trying to serve me and help me. Then because you are in this more neutral space, then the answer is going to start arriving. And then you can start coming like, well, I wonder how I can get that need met without creating all this negative thing, right? So how can you get yourself motivated in your business to take the right action and do things that are not necessarily comfortable, but are necessary for your growth, right? That you got to get stretched a little bit. How can you do it in a way that doesn't include berating you, yelling at you, calling yourself a loser, and maybe binge watching, 3 days of Star Trek: The Next Generation? No, I mean, how do we do that, right? Well, I don't know how, right? Then every time we hit a blank space, we can create the one command, right? And you just start being present and start creating for yourself what it is that you need from this higher perspective. And then you would create that little vignette of how would you know, okay, that you had it. And then you just kind of stay with it. And this is going to be a conversation that you may have with yourself for a few days, okay? Here's the other thing, that it is not always easy to recognize your own pattern when you're in it. That's why it's really beneficial to work with someone else. So there's people that I coach with, there's YouTube videos I like to listen to. Like I really love binaural beats. I love the meditations in there. I love breath work. I'll do tapping. I just tune into what it is that I need. Maybe I need a bath. Maybe I need to take a nap, right? Maybe I need some good food. I don't know, right? But I tune in, like, what is it I need? And I go into some self-care. And I don't have to make anyone else wrong in order for me to take care of myself. So can we make that a rule that you don't have to make anyone else wrong? You don't have to make your situation wrong. You don't have to act repentant as if you've done something wrong in order to do what's right for you. What would that be like to live from that place of no shame or blame, no trauma, drama, game? Well, I don't know. I only know I'm committed to creating that in my life now, right? So every new thought, you can one flip a negative, but then and do a command on the opposite. But then as you meet an idea that you go, wow, that's a great idea, then you do a one command to kind of set it in. Okay. Then you can start tuning in, and there'll be this greater trust of yourself, greater confidence. And then you can start checking in on, like, hey, what are going to be the right action steps for me to take? Because you want to get out of that should, ought to, have to way of thinking into what is possible and what is right and what is best for right now. Which is way better lens to look through, right? It's a way better point of view to have. Like, hey, what is my best option? What is my best course of action? And it may even seem counterintuitive. It may seem like, oh, I feel like I need to go to a coffee shop or something. I need to go do this thing. And who knows? We don't know. Maybe you just needed a break, but maybe you'll run into somebody that'll give you a conversation. Maybe there'll be something that comes on in the radio. We don't know. But as you start listening and honoring your intuition from this greater, higher level, rather than from the need and the fear, right? As you start honoring and respecting and appreciating your own intuition and your inner guidance and your own greatness and your genius, then more possibilities are going to start arriving. Then as you start consciously creating these little vignettes, then you're going to be able to start consciously creating and connecting into a greater vision from your life, and then start creating maps from that. So that's what I did. And it sounds a little convoluted, but it's really a process about being present and committing to asking new questions. And if you could use some help or support there's a couple of things I really want to recommend. If you have not tuned in to the Tuesday night wealth circles, we talk about this stuff all the time. Every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, we get on on Zoom. We check in with everybody personally and find out what's up for them. We've got a little teaching that always comes through, and then we do commands as a group. Okay, and we celebrate each other's wins, and we support each other through their learning process. So if you have not tuned into that, be sure and tune into it. You can also check over on the videos. Let me see, that would be, this way. On the video section of the Facebook page, and a lot of the past ones are posted there. Okay. The next thing is, if you feel like you need some support to help kind of guide you, to help tune in on that. This is my business, guys. This is what I do. And to help people through this process so that they can have greater confidence in themselves and get over that hump. They sometimes need someone who's kind of on their side and being their advocate while they figure it out. And I've got a big tool bag beyond the one command. I'm trained as a hypnotherapist and work with NLP, and I'm trying to think of all the certifications, Reiki, and now I'm drawing a blank, but I am naturally an intuitive healer. And so I have a great big bag of tricks in working with people in not only clearing, but consciously creating a greater life, and some skills and resources and abilities help them tap into this greater state of being. So I do have a link up at the top of this if you want to book a session. I'm accepting appointments this week, and would love to connect with you. I do have a beta program on on building confidence, where we're doing amazing work with people. And it's not a formal program yet. I'm actually looking for people to work with on this as I develop it. But it's work that I've been doing probably since I was 17 years old and sitting next to people. And now I'm turning it into a more formalized process. So I'm looking for people that would be interested in work with me on a 6-week basis. It is a paid program. And if that's something you want to find out more about, shoot me a message, and we'll schedule a conversation around that. So was this beneficial? I know that we're coming into an hour and how precious your time is. But I want to tune in. Was this beneficial? And what was your biggest takeaway from today? Be sure and put it in the comments. I'd love to see it. And even if you're listening to this on the replay, hey, Maurice. I want to say hi to Verena and Linda. Hey, Joy. Let's see, Wanda. Thank you for being here. Mary, Joan, Bazadeb, Deb, Tanisha. Oh, guys, thank you so much. Elaine, and there's some other things coming in here. So what was your biggest takeaway from today's session? Yeah, Verena's saying, yes, it makes sense, and she loves it. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm always open to getting topics and ideas. If there's a teaching that, you're needing some extra help and support on something, be sure and let me know. And because I'm always open. We're co-creating this group together, guys. And I'm here to be at your service. And so if you have an idea for a webinar or a class, or you just have a question, be sure and shoot me a personal message. And I do my best to answer those right away. So I'm going to go ahead and end it on this. Aw, she felt like, Verena says she felt like she met her future self. Thank you for that. Okay, so thank you so much for being part of the group, for being in my corner of the world and helping me co-create something even greater than I even knew I wanted. And until next time, this is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and I witness your mastery. Bye-bye.